The belief system before was I need to get paid. That needs to be my primary concern. Money is going to drive every decision, uh, and every goal that I need to get to is going to require me to get money. I kind of just wanted respect and status, and I wanted to be able to do whatever I wanted. I felt like the belief system was very selfish when I was going in, and then it started to change to I'm more of a creator than leaning on something like money. I started to realize the way I interpret the world is the world that I'm going to live in. And I realized I had things that I could give and share to others. And that really just switched my perspective. So I started thinking about if if I want to be something greater, why? Why do I want to be that? And I noticed that the root got back to trying to help other people. I had just been through all this stuff, and I'm still here. I didn't feel like God carried me through all that for me to just get a job and not tell anybody. Uh, Again, that felt selfish. So I leaned towards what can I do to help other people, and that switched my mindset to more of like selfless.
I'm glad you talked about God because that lets me know you're open to like spirituality. Is
Mhm.
when it comes to spirituality, you obviously had a hard life. Like you've gone through so much that you shared openly within this conversation. You shared openly on social media, but there's so much beneath it all that you never shared publicly, and you've experienced a lot of trials and tribulations to say the least. Is when you are navigating a season, especially when it comes to a very severe turbulent storm, is what keeps your faith intact when you are filled up with so much rage, you're filled up with so much anger, you are surrounded by a world with so much violence because you've experienced a world with so much violence, right? What do you think keeps your faith intact?
I think, to be honest, it often doesn't stay intact. In the beginning, it was kind of a winding road of belief and not believing. And it was really, for example, when I was raised Catholic, right? And that was another thing that I had to explore to myself. I told myself I wanted to study different religions, understand what other people, other cultures believed, and I kind of went on that journey while I was there, not changing who I was, but just reading, right? I read the Bible cover to cover. I read the Quran cover to cover. I read Hindu books. I read things about Buddhism. And when I took that journey on my own, unbiased, it brought me back to Christianity. So when I got angry and when I felt like my faith was shaken, I had some experience by then really with the text, and I understood that trials is part of this whole thing, right? Just because you have faith doesn't mean, or if you're saved, it doesn't mean that you have an easy life. It doesn't mean that challenges and hard times aren't going to come. I think I almost believe it to be the opposite because when the devil sees that you're getting too close to God, they're going to put the foothold wherever they can, right? So I knew I was aware of that failure, that loss, that challenge is all part of the journey, right? Love is long suffering. So I would acknowledge that it didn't always help, right? It's easy for me to say it, harder to do in practice, but I remained there, and I'm really thankful for that.
You sound like you said you've always been a nerd, you've always read books and and it sounds like books helped you a lot. I think it's probably because of not probably, but because of the information that you receive while you're reading. Was there ever a particular was there a book in particular that helped you within the prison system, that helped you navigate that process?
Um,
Because I know like prisons, they have like a library, right?
mhm.
Did you ever read books in the prison system too or no?
Yeah, the libraries they're a bit limited.
The
But we're also able to order books. People send books from the outside. Um, I read a lot of like Malcolm Gladwell, a lot of James Clear. Even the book Seven Habits of Highly Effective People was a really helpful one because it helped me with perception. And that goes back to what I said earlier of understanding that what I see every day and how I interpret it is the world I live in. But what you see and what you interpret every day is different than what I see. Yet your world is still true, right? And that's like an epiphany for me, understanding that if we all have a true version of what the world is, then we have some control on how we want to shape what we see. And that's when I started realizing, like, when I used to only see money and I used to only see drugs, I would sell drugs, make money. But if I started to see opportunity, if I started to see growth, if I started to see things from a loving perspective, I then would live in a world that was loving. And that's the direction I started walking toward. And once I got a piece of that, a result, like carried that cycle all the way through from like thinking about something to seeing it in front of me, that's when I was like, wait a minute, I can do this again. And we can just keep stacking until I have this whole thing of goodness around me.